In 1908, Inspector Legras of New Orleans led a police raid into the swamps to investigate reports of strange rituals. What he and his men found was beyond belief. Deep in the swamp, a group of degenerate cultists danced and chanted around a monstrous idol. The figure was identical to the bas-relief, an octopus-headed being crouched on a pedestal, its visage exuding a malevolent ancient power. The cultists, once captured, spoke of their faith. They worshipped the great old ones, beings who came to Earth from the stars before the dawn of man. Cthulhu was their high priest, slumbering beneath the waves in the sunken city of Rillier. The cult believed that one day, when the stars aligned, Cthulhu would rise again, bringing chaos and destruction to the world. Among the professor's papers, I found a record of Legras's discovery and his subsequent investigation. He had brought the idol to a meeting of archaeologists, hoping for answers. None could identify the creature or the strange material it was carved from. Only one man, Professor Webb, had seen anything similar during an expedition to Greenland. Webb described an isolated tribe of Eskimo who worshipped a similar entity, performing blood rituals and chanting the same horrifying phrase, Fanglui, Milwanaf, Cthulhu, Rillier, Wugahnagel, Ftagn. In his house at Rillier, dead Cthulhu waits dreaming. The connections were undeniable. Across the globe, from Louisiana to Greenland, people who had never met shared the same horrifying visions and chants. And then there was the final piece of the puzzle, a maritime horror that tied everything together. The most merciful thing in the world, I think, is the inability of the human mind to correlate all its contents. We live on a placid island of ignorance, surrounded by black seas of infinity, and it was never meant that we should voyage far. But sometimes, by accident, the veil is torn, and fragments of forbidden knowledge come together. What they reveal is enough to drive even the most rational mind into madness. This is the story of such a revelation, a discovery that begins with the death of Professor George Gammel Angel, an esteemed scholar of ancient languages. His death seemed natural at first glance, an old man collapsing on the streets of Providence. But as I, his great-nephew, sorted through his belongings, I uncovered something far more sinister. Among his papers was a locked box containing notes, newspaper clippings, and a strange clay bas-relief, a grotesque depiction of a monstrous figure. It had a head like an octopus, a scaly clawed body, and bat-like wings. Surrounding the figure were cryptic symbols and hieroglyphs that no known language could decipher. The papers told a chilling story. The professor had been contacted by a young artist named Henry Anthony Wilcox, who had brought the bas-relief to him for interpretation. Wilcox claimed it was inspired by a dream, a vision of a great city of giant stone blocks covered in green slime and built on impossible geometry. In the dream, an alien voice called out with the words, Cthulhu Eftan. Wilcox's dreams became more vivid, filled with chaotic imagery of an ancient, alien presence. The professor, skeptical but intrigued, kept detailed records of Wilcox's dreams and began corresponding with others, poets, artists, and sensitives, who reported similar visions. All their dreams pointed to one name, Cthulhu, an ancient being of immense power, slumbering in the sunken city of Rillier. But this was only the beginning. In his notes, the professor referenced an encounter years earlier in Louisiana, a raid on a strange cult that worshipped this same being. In the spring of 1925, a Norwegian ship named the Emma went missing in the Pacific. It was later found drifting, its crew either dead or missing, save for one survivor, Gustav Johansson. His account, detailed in a manuscript I recovered, revealed the true terror lurking beneath the waves. That Emma had encountered a black ship crewed by savage cultists. After a bloody battle, Johansson and the survivors commandeered the ship and sailed on, guided by an unnatural compulsion. They eventually found themselves at the shores of an uncharted island, a place that should not have existed. There they discovered Rulia. The city was beyond comprehension, a nightmare of impossible angles and architecture that seemed to defy the laws of physics. In its center was a massive stone door sealed for countless millennia. As the sailors explored the city, the door began to move. Slowly, it creaked open, releasing a wave of foul air. From the darkness emerged something vast and terrible, a creature so massive and alien that no human words could describe it. This was Cthulhu. Johansson wrote of its form in fragmented, incoherent sentences. A towering, gelatinous mass, writhing tentacles, a pulpy, octopus-like head. The very sight of it drove men to madness. Some died instantly of fright. Others fled in blind terror. Cthulhu pursued them to their ship, its monstrous form defying the boundaries of reality. In a desperate act, Johansson rammed the ship into the creature's body. There was a sickening burst, a sound like the fabric of the universe tearing, and the creature recoiled. By some unfathomable miracle, Cthulhu sank back into the sea, and the island disappeared beneath the waves. Johansson survived, but his mind was broken. He returned home only to die under mysterious circumstances, leaving behind his harrowing account. The pieces of this puzzle form a terrifying whole. Across the globe, the same dreams, the same symbols, the same chants, cults, ancient idols, and a city beneath the sea. Cthulhu is real. He waits, dreaming in the depths of Rulia. And though he sleeps now, the stars will align again. When that day comes, the great old one will rise, and the world will be plunged into chaos. That is not dead, which can eternal lie, and with strange aeons even death may die. Beware the whispers in your dreams. Beware the signs in the shadows. For the call of Cthulhu is eternal, and when he calls, will you be ready to answer?